Hey everybody, it's Nick. This week we're doing something a little bit different. I'm part of a community of D&D YouTubers, and this week we challenged ourselves to all make videos about a dungeon with a dragon in it. So that's what I'm going to do this week. I'm going to make a video about that, and I will try to link down below to all of the other videos that have been made about this so that you can maybe check out some other small-time YouTubers that you hadn't heard about or know of, and maybe if you like their content, if you like this video, feel free to do all the things that you do for a video, the liking, the commenting, subscribing, all of that stuff. It really is encouraging and helpful for us content creators and gives us great feedback, but also we all have different and interesting ideas and we become better players and DMs as a whole community if we share those with each other. So feel free to try to find other small-time D&D YouTubers that you don't know about, and maybe you'll learn some things that you hadn't thought about before. Hang on a second. Wrong video. Right, so here's my video on a dungeon with a dragon in it. So this is something that basically you could drop into another campaign or another massive adventure that you've got going on, a small series of encounters. And let's say you've got a relatively high level party, say low teens, 13, 14 maybe, and they have found themselves in the Underdark for some reason or another. Let's say there's an upcoming conflict and they need to gain allies, and they have, in their desperation, turned to the Drow or the Deep Gnomes to try to gather allies for this upcoming battle. And the Drow and the Deep Gnomes are not willing to just give their allegiance for free, no, they want something in return, and so you approach them and they ask you to help them out with something. See, they've been pushed out of their ancestral homes by some kind of terrifying monster, and they want to reclaim those homelands, and so could you go and clear out some of these locations of these terrifying monsters, and maybe they'd be willing to help you out in return. So you agree, you talk to several sources who maybe have seen this monster, and it describes a long neck and an articulated tail and a massive creature, all black, and then it's also, you know, got the ability to breathe death itself and fly. And like, oh, okay, a dragon. Yeah, we've killed dragons before, but ooh, an Underdark dragon. That's different. That's interesting. Maybe it's like a purple dragon or a shadow dragon or something like that, but that sounds neat. Let's go take that out. So you're on your way to the location that they've described, and as you're making your way there and the caverns, it goes deeper and deeper, and all of a sudden it starts to be webbing. Well, that's not that unusual for the Underdark, but here, where there's supposed to be a dragon, there's like spider webs. And then in the midst of trying to figure that out, you get ambushed by some giant spiders, or maybe they're like mutated driders if you want to up the challenge level a little bit of this fight. And eventually you dispatch of them and think, okay, that's really weird. A dragon who has spiders working for them? That's kind of creepy. Okay, DM, that's weird. But that sounds neat. I wonder what this dragon did to earn the allegiance of these creatures. You continue going, and there's even more webbing as you follow along your way. And maybe there's various traps or even a puzzle that you have to uncover, and there's lots of various resources that you can go to try to find those. I'm not going to list traps and puzzles because I just Google myself when I need traps or puzzles. So you're trying to find your way through these caverns, and eventually you come across these really powerful driders, and they talk about the Dark Mother and how she must be protected at all costs. But they don't give any more information before you kill them. And finally, your group enters into this last massive final cavern. And it's got webs everywhere. It's completely covered. And it's hundreds of feet long and over 100 feet high. And the darkness is just overwhelming. It's oppressive. And as you're slowly beginning to explore this cavern, you're trying to make sure your feet aren't stuck in the webs and you're able to pull yourself free, but without losing your balance. And as you're doing this, you hear a cry from one of your allies, and you look up just in time to see it. A massive black form glides towards you from the ceiling. It's got a long neck with a fearsome maw at the end, an articulated tail with some kind of point at the end of it, but it has no wings at all. Where there would be wings, there are instead just massive nets of webbing held aloft by its legs. And it has many legs, I don't know, maybe 8 all told, and as you're looking at it, this might not be a dragon at all. It lands on the ground in front of you and roars, but clearly it's something else. It sounds like a dragon. It looks sort of like a dragon, but this seems like some kind of dragon spider hybrid, some kind of dragon and arachnid, a drachnid. And just when you think it couldn't get any more terrifying, it opens its mouth and breathes on you. But this dragon does not breathe fire or poison or acid, no. This dragon breathes a massive cloud of webbing that envelops you and your allies, restricting you from movement and trapping you in place. And you realize something in that moment. The webbing seems alive. It seems to move and writhe. And you look down and there are thousands of small little spiders that are infesting these webs, seeking to eat you alive. And this is when you realize you have truly descended into the depths of the nightmares of the Underdark. So that's my hot take on a dungeon with a dragon in it. Obviously, there are lots and lots of really great resources, one-shots, adventures that have normal dragons, and this was an idea that came from one of my players a few years ago, and I threw a post on Reddit, which I can link to below, and it sort of blew up, and I had a sort of 2 seconds of fame on Reddit for this idea, and I wanted to just sort of reshare it and get the horror out there that is the drachnid, or spider dragon. I think it's a really interesting concept for you to use. I have stats for it as well that I will link to that I threw together. I sort of modified a Green Dragon's stat block and threw it all together. And so if you have your own stat block, I think that'd be really interesting. If you want to make one and use it, I think that sounds awesome. This is a really creepy kind of monster, but I think it could be really neat in the right circumstances. So I would love to hear your thoughts on how you could use this monster and what kind of ways and how you would use it effectively in combat or in a narrative. Is it intelligent like a dragon? I think so, but maybe you want it to be just sort of a dumb brute of a spider. That's fine. But I'm interested in hearing what you think, so feel free to comment and let me know below what you think about this dungeon with a dragon in it. And that is all for this week. Next time I'm going to be going into my campaign pitch doc for my upcoming campaign, as well as the session 0 that we had afterwards. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.